Another week of fun football has passed, and it was pretty normal football until Monday Night Football, which completely tanked my record. As you can see, I am 9-6. I'm below 10 games correct for the second week in a row. Granted, last week was really hard. This week was also decently hard, but I could have done better than 9. Starting off with, nobody guessed this one. I tried to pick an upset. It didn't work. It almost did. The Cardinals should have gotten a hold in the end zone and gotten a touchdown there, but I digress. Okay, the Panthers are good, apparently. 50-50 game goes not my way. And then for the most part, I picked all these games correct. Until Monday Night Football, where I got 2 of these incorrect. Great. Love when the upsets happen on Monday Night Football and give you false hope that everything's going to be okay this week. Spread, very much the same. Pretty much 9-6. I match my record every week, even though I don't pick the exact same games correct. Because I got the Giants one correct. I didn't get the Denver one correct. I forgot Denver's offense is garbage. And then the 2 basically pick'em games did not go my way. Yeah. You would not expect the Dolphins to suddenly take the lead in the final seconds when the Chargers have a 2-score lead in the fourth quarter. But here we are, and my spread got cooked. And then the Monday Night Football spreads got cooked. What am I supposed to do? Well, what I do is pick these games correctly. So let's start with Thursday Night Football, the Steelers and the Bengals. Well, the Steelers, their offense is kind of doing whatever, but they're beating up on some bad teams. And their defense is doing their job very well. And the Bengals, well, they traded Joe Flacco, and Joe Flacco put up a few points, which may make some fantasy managers happy, but I don't think that really gives them a chance against the Steelers. So the Steelers are going to take this one. And for the spread for this game, 5.5 is not my favorite spread, especially for an AFC North matchup. The Bengals have been playing teams a little close, so I'm actually tempted to pick the Bengals here, but I'm actually going to go with the Steelers. They've been beating teams relatively comfortably. Next up, we have our London game for this week. And honestly, this is probably the best one so far. The Rams coming off a underwhelming win against the Ravens, and the Jaguars kind of got beat up against the Seahawks. It wasn't really a blowout, it was just their defensive line completely dominated their offensive line, and it's really hard to move the ball when that happens. 39 pressures is the most ridiculous stat I've ever heard. The Rams, with 17 points against a bad Ravens defense, is not great. I mean, yeah, they got a few starters back, but they've been giving up points to everybody, and the Rams are a good offense, so what's up with that? Now, there are 2 major injuries for both teams. The Rams are missing Puka Nacua. They still have Devontae Adams and Kyron Williams, but that might hurt the receiving game a little bit. And the Jaguars have a major injury on defense. Devin Lloyd did not travel to London due to a calf injury. That's a pretty big loss for their defense as well. Now, the hope for the Jaguars is that Trayvon Walker is a little bit back to normal. He did not play many snaps last game, and it kind of showed. So this is honestly a toss-up game for me. This could go either way, and London games actually tend to favor the Jaguars a little bit. The Jaguars can beat some good teams in London. They did it in 2023 when they beat the Bills in London. Last year was just kind of everything fell apart, but they did beat the Patriots there, did lose to the Bears. So, it could go either way, but I'm actually going to pick the Jaguars here. Why? London games are funky, you saw last week. And the spread for the London game is actually pretty fair. It is basically a toss-up. Whoever you think is going to win, that's who you should pick the spread. And because I picked the Jaguars, I'm going to pick them here as well. Now we have the Saints and the Bears. This is an interesting matchup. The Saints actually play teams really close. I mean, their record says they're terrible, and they are not good, but they aren't as bad as you'd think. The Bears are coming off a very close win against the Commanders, which is revenge for last season. We will see if they can springboard off that win, because that is a pretty big win. It is the best team they've beaten so far. Now, the Saints, they've beaten actually a solid team in the Giants. I mean, the Giants aren't in the upper half of the league, but Giants beat the Eagles last week, so they can't be that bad. But here's where things get fun. I'm actually going to pick the upset here. I'm actually going to go the Saints. I don't really trust the Bears, in my personal opinion. They did get kind of lucky there with a really badly botched handoff that gave them the win. If that freak accident doesn't happen, I don't know if they do win. I actually think the Saints are playing pretty decently and could upset the Bears here. Yes, I'm a psycho. And the spread, because I am picking the Saints here. I probably would have picked the Saints regardless because the Bears don't really blow anybody out and the Saints play everybody close. So I would have picked the Saints here anyway. Now here's an absolutely garbage matchup. Two teams that are 1-5 and neither team really looks any good. I mean, the Dolphins, they've been putting up some fights lately, so there might be hope there, but I think McDaniels is pretty much coaching for his job, and he's not really doing a good job of that. And the Browns, they're just seeing what they have in Dylan Gabriel. They're not really playing for anything this year. They're playing for a top 5 pick. That's what they're playing for. But I actually think this matchup ruins their chances at a top 5 pick a little bit, and they actually win this because their defense is playing pretty solidly, and Dylan Gabriel hasn't been too bad. They also have Judkins, who I think could absolutely tear apart the Dolphins' defense, which has been pretty awful. And the spread, pretty much a pick 'em. I'm taking the Browns here. Well, the Browns firing Brian Callahan before this game kind of ruins this matchup a little bit. Like, this could have been the matchup where Mike Vrabel fires his old team's head coach. That could have been a fun storyline, but no. He gets fired to a random team that they were kind of supposed to lose anyway. Anyway, the Patriots have been playing really well, and the same can't be said about the Titans. They are one of the worst teams in the league. You could pretty much put them at the bottom of the league, and the fact they have one win is honestly a miracle. They really should be 0-6 right now. They've been playing that terribly, but the Cardinals had to put a shotgun to their leg, not their foot, to their leg to lose that game. Like, it was impressive how they got that win. Not on the Titans' part at all. The Patriots, they're kind of rolling, and they're honestly trying to play for a wild card spot at this point. They get this one here. Hopefully they actually show up in the second half for this game. And the spread, over a touchdown, scares me, but it's the Titans. I'm going to take the Patriots here. This could definitely bite people in the butt, but I don't trust the Titans one bit. Next up, we have the Raiders and the Chiefs. The Chiefs finally get a cupcake game after running the gauntlet for the first 6 weeks. I mean, the schedule makers gave them a really difficult schedule to start the season. The Raiders, kind of just whatever. I think 2-4 is exactly the team they are. I don't think they are a 1-win team, but I also don't think they're really a 500 team. This is a team that's going to finish with maybe 7 wins at the high end. They do have some talent. Brock Bowers seems unlikely this week, which is quite unfortunate. Ashton Genty might be able to do something, and Geno Smith, well, if they hope to win this game at all, they need to not turn the ball over, and that's what they've been doing. And honestly, the defense has played decently, so I don't think they're going to play all that well against the Chiefs. The Chiefs' offense has been nigh unstoppable over the past 3 weeks. I think the Chiefs win this one easily. The spread is also diabolical. Call me crazy. The Chiefs don't really blow anybody out, so I'm going to pick the Raiders here. The Chiefs are going to win comfortably, yes, but I don't like anything above a touchdown. I just picked one against the Patriots, but whatever. If I see double-digit spread, I am picking the underdog. Next up, we have the Eagles and Vikings. The Eagles are coming off their second straight loss, and the Vikings are coming off a bye. The Vikings also might get J.J. McCarthy back. How that improves their team, I don't know. I can't really say J.J. McCarthy has really played much better than Carson Wentz. I mean, Carson Wentz has been pretty solid, so I don't know if it's that much of an upgrade. I think the Vikings can run with any quarterback. The Eagles need to do some running. Like, come on, give the ball to Saquon a little bit more. And throwing the ball, maybe there's a reason why they were running the ball so much early on in the season. Maybe they should stick to running the ball and maybe figure out the run game. They really need to figure out their offense. Their offense has been awful. For the Super Bowl champions, this is not what I expected from their offense. With all the players they have, too. They really need a bounce back game. And to be honest, it would not shock me to see the Vikings win this game and bring the Eagles down to 4-3 because that's just the kind of season the Eagles are having right now. But I'm going to pick them to bounce back this game. Surely they don't lose 3 in a row, right? This is going to get clipped next week if this goes wrong. Spread, basically a pick 'em. Taking the Eagles. Are the Panthers good? Like, they're all of a sudden 3-3, winning a good amount of games. They've won 3 of their last 4, which apparently they found somebody in Rico Dowdle. The Jets, probably one of the worst games I've ever seen from an offense. -10 passing yards, that is incredibly impressive. How do you get that few passing yards? That's literally not happened at all this century. That's how bad the Jets offense was last week. Yes, good defense, but come on, how are you this bad on offense? Justin Fields is why. The Panthers are actually kind of rolling. They are putting up a good amount of points every game. That's not something I expected, but when Rico Dowdle is putting up 200 yards a game, you should maybe put up a lot of points. I don't trust the Jets defense in the slightest. I totally think Rico Dowdle could go for a third 200-yard game. And the spread, actually kind of insulting to the Panthers. The Panthers have been playing really well, and they've only gotten a 1.5 favor against one of the worst teams in the league. Come on. At least give them 2.5. Picking the Panthers here. Next up, we have the Giants and Broncos. This is actually a really funny matchup and could go in a really funny way. Yes, the Broncos defense is elite and definitely could completely shut down the Giants offense, which is pretty one-dimensional. They only got running. That is all they do well. They have no receivers. Yes, little Jordan Humphrey is going to burn Patrick Surtain. Yes, that's definitely what's going to happen. The Broncos are one of the best defenses ever. Honestly, they are going for the sack record this year. They are 10 sacks ahead of the next team. That's how good this Broncos defense is. The Giants have a solid defense and definitely could put up a fight because the Broncos offense has not been playing well. Despite the talent they do have, they're kind of whatever. I would not be shocked to see the Giants win this game, but I'm picking the Broncos here. And the spread, that is hilariously insulting. I'm taking the Giants there. Next up, we have a pretty big matchup this week. We have the Colts versus the Chargers. Both division leaders, which is not something you would have expected at the start of this season. The Colts, they've been rolling. They beat the Cardinals last week. Proved me wrong. I mean, the Cardinals definitely played really well, so was an off base there. And the Chargers, they are getting back on track a little bit. Last week was not great, almost choking away a fourth quarter lead against the Dolphins. So there's some concern with the Chargers. I could understand why some people favor the Colts. The Colts have been really good, and they played a decent team in the Cardinals. The Cardinals are not a bad team. They didn't really beat up on them, but they were in a shootout, which was kind of funny. But I'm actually going to pick the Chargers here. This is the best team the Colts have faced all year. The Broncos, week 2, were not that good, and honestly, their offense is still not that good. It's only their defense that's been good. And to be fair, the Colts did put up a good amount of points against that Broncos defense. So this is a 50-50 game. I am taking the Chargers though. And the spread, as fair as you can get it, still taking the Chargers. Next up, we have an NFC matchup coming against two teams that lost their games against unexpected opponents. The Commanders, they had Jaden Daniels, but granted, they didn't have any of their wide receivers, so that was a bit rough. And the Cowboys, their defense is absolute garbage. I mean, they let the Panthers put up 30 points on them. Rico Dowdle had his revenge game against his former team. That was a pretty surprising outcome, but we did expect the Cowboys to struggle on defense, that is. On offense, they were pretty good, but they couldn't really get the running game going, which was a bit of a surprise. Now, the Commanders do have a solid defense and a great offense, but those turnovers killed them against the Bears. You can't turn the ball over 3 times and expect to win. The funny thing is, I'm actually going to take the Cowboys here. Yes, in my opinion, the Commanders are a better team. However, the Cowboys, they've been pretty consistent on offense. Consistently great, actually. I actually think this will be a shootout game, which, in the end, the Cowboys will be able to pull out on top. This is also another 50-50 game for me. I understand why people are picking the Commanders. The Commanders are a better overall team, and looking at the Cowboys, it looked like a low-quality loss, but I actually think the Panthers are playing pretty solid this year. And the spread, also another pretty fair spread. And because I took the Cowboys, I'm taking them here as well. Next up, we have the Packers and Cardinals. Pretty funny that Jacoby Brissett played better than Kyler Murray has all year. And little QB controversy in Arizona? Well, Kyler Murray's probably starting anyway because they paid him a lot of money to start. And the Packers, well, they're coming off a solid win against the Bengals. They never win comfortably. I don't understand. They always like to keep teams around for no reason. They're a better team, yet they don't show it. I don't know why they don't really play up to their talent. They aren't really consistent on offense. This definitely feels like a trap game for the Packers. The Cardinals, they're 2-4. They are what their record says. They lost to the Titans, so you deserve to be 2-4 if you lose the Titans. However, because I have a slight lack of trust with the Packers, I'm actually taking the Cardinals here. Packers, they are the better team. Absolutely. They have the better defense. In theory, they have the better offense. But I don't know. They just play around with their food a lot, and it bit them against the Browns. I think it could bite them again against the Cardinals. The Cardinals are not that bad of a team. Probably in the lower half of the league, but they're not terrible. So I think they could steal a win here. And maybe this will wake the Packers up to, hey, you should maybe not give games away. And the spread, I think this is laughable for any Packers game. The Packers should not be getting 6.5 for any game unless it's literally against the Titans. The Packers never get this comfortable of a win. So because I picked the Cardinals, I'm taking them here. But even if I picked the Packers, I would still take the Cardinals in the spread. Now we have a fun Sunday night matchup between the Falcons and the 49ers. The Falcons with the big upset against the Bills. I mean, that was a huge game for them. I mean, the Bills really couldn't do anything. The Falcons defense has looked pretty good all of a sudden. And the Falcons offense is starting to really consistently flash their playmaking ability. It's starting to look like more that the Panthers game was a fluke rather than the rule, which it's good to see because now they're in legitimate contention for their division should the Buccaneers ever slip up. And the 49ers are starting to get some of their players back, though they did lose Fred Warner for the season, which is a huge loss for them. They might get Brock Purdy back this week, they might get Ricky Pearsall back this week, and George Kittle might be coming off of IR this week, which is big for their offense. Personally, I don't think all of those players will be coming back. Their statuses are still up in the air for this week, so I kind of still expect Mac Jones to be playing this week, who honestly hasn't been all that bad, so they could probably afford to play him another week. However, the Falcons have looked really good, so I'm actually going to take the Falcons here. And the spread, fair spread, but because I took the Falcons, I'm taking them here as well. Next up, we have the first of 2 Monday Night Football games. And honestly, they should not do these double headers. They kind of suck. I would rather just watch one Monday Night Football game rather than 2. Weird scheduling. At least these don't go over each other. But who's going to stay up for that 10 p.m. game on Monday Night Football? Anyways, let's get into the actual picks. The Buccaneers versus the Lions. The Buccaneers, I mean, they're rolling. They actually came off a pretty comfortable win against the 49ers, despite missing all of their receivers. Like, their top 4 receivers are out for this game, probably. They might get Mike Evans back, which would be big because they did lose Emeka Egbuka. So getting at least one of the receivers back would be nice. Maybe Chris Godwin, but I don't know about that one. The Lions, meanwhile, they're missing their secondary. They were missing a lot of corners against the Chiefs, and it showed. However, I actually think the Lions bounce back and win this game. I think the injuries for the Buccaneers will finally catch up to them in this game. And the Lions, they'll bounce back on offense a little bit. And the spread, I don't actually like this spread for the Lions at all. I'm actually going to take the Buccaneers here on the spread. I think this will be a pretty close game, and it's whoever gets the ball last. And now our last matchup for week 7, the Texans versus the Seahawks. The Texans, coming off a bye week, giving them time to rest a little bit. Their offense has seemingly gotten rolling. Granted, it was against some bad defenses. And the Seahawks are coming off a big win against the Jaguars, where their defense dominated. It's usually their offense doing really well, but this time, their defense really showed up, despite their secondary issues. And they come across a Texans O-line that is probably the worst in the league. They went up against the Jaguars O-line, which had been playing really well this year, and completely manhandled them. The Texans O-line is significantly worse than the Jaguars O-line, and I would not be surprised to see like 50 pressures. The Seattle's defensive line has been really good this year. They had their biggest game so far last week. They're in store for another big game this week. So I'm picking Seattle here. And the spread, actually kind of insulting to the Seattle Seahawks, whose offense has been really good and their defense has been also pretty good. So I think the Seahawks win comfortably on Monday Night Football. Anyways, that is all for the picks this week. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your picks are this week in the comment section below. But if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and sub. It will let me know that you guys actually like these videos. Anyway, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.